Hello, everybody. Just a quick reminder that we are pre-taping this week's Nerd Wars because tonight we will be doing a live review of Spider-Man Far From Home. And you can win this awesome Spider-Man prize pack from Sony, who was so gracious to give it to us, if you leave a nice comment down below here in our Nerd Wars for Best Spider-Man. That's right. Leave a comment below and you will win this awesome prize pack, a nice nylon bag, a poster with a cool activity sheet, stickers, the whole 9 yards. So leave a nice comment below and you can win. And now, without further ado, Nerd Wars. My Spidey senses are tingling for this Nerd Wars where we are going to debate the best Spider-Man. That's right. We have 4 of the most iconic Spider-Man of recent, and I have 4 amazing fighters who are going to take on each one. I'm so excited to do this. Who is the best Spider-Man? Now, we're basing this off of performance. Who gives the best performance? Who is the best Spider-Man? That includes who's the best Peter Parker, who's the best combo, who's the best person who just sums up this role of Spider-Man in the best way. I'm going to put him there in the wide to watch out and be our judge with me. This is how the show works. Let's introduce who our fighters are going to be, and we're going to go in chronological order of their Spider-Men. First up, I am so happy to have you back. You did a great job last week, Matt. Thanks for coming back. Mac Doolittle, woohoo!
How are you?
I'm doing great.
I am Tobey Maguire's representative today.
Tobey, you're going Tobey.
Tobey.
The original.
The OG guy that I grew up on. It's like Michael Keaton type. You know, that's your Batman, of the guy that you saw. And when I was in high school, Spider-Man came out. And that was my Spider-Man. It still is. We won't count the third movie. We won't talk about that one. But yeah, that's my Spider-Man.
I think we're gonna end up. They're gonna talk about the third movie.
We will just.
But good to know. Tobey was where a lot of us really got into, especially cinematically, obviously. But got us into. But let's start. Next phase was Andrew Garfield, and I got Natalie here to defend Mr. Garfield.
Yes.
Welcome, Natalie.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So you like Andrew Garfield as your favorite?
I do, and it's a tough road to be on because no one seems to.
No one does, but I do. I'm with you. I think he had some good qualities, and I'm sure you're going to bring them up. You already told me some. I'm excited to hear it.
Thank you.
He also had a good relationship with Emma Stone, which helped. So that don't undercut him.
Don't.
She's going in.
Cheater.
She's going on as an underdog.
Don't tell them my
I like
strategy yet. You gotta keep on drama.
But you're right. It's safe. I think probably out of these 3, he's probably the underdog. So let's see where that goes. But good kudos for you. These are all their first choices, mind you. Sometimes in Nerd Wars, Don or somebody else will just be like, yeah, I can fight whatever. But no, these were all the first choices. That's what I like about this. Next up, Katie. Welcome back, Katie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You are going with the most prominent one of today, Tom Holland.
Yes.
Okay, so he's your favorite.
Hands down, yeah. I think he has the best, kind of vibe. Gives off the best vibe for Spider-Man, for Peter Parker out of all of them.
Okay, great. And that leaves Adon. Well, what Spider-Man's left, Adon?
We got Miles Morales, played by Shameik Moore. If I butchered your name, I apologize. But yes, I feel, even though it's not your traditional Peter Parker Spider-Man, he embodies the essence of what Spider-Man is the best.
All right, so you're going Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, Shameik Moore. Interesting choice. He's an underdog there also of just very recent, hard to tell, but man, what a fantastic movie. And I've got to show some of my bias. I still love that movie so much. It might be my favorite Spider-Man movie. I just think it's so brilliantly done. But it's not best movie, it's best Spider-Man. And let's bring it on. All right, I'm going to let the old guard take this over. Tobey Maguire's where we lead it. Let's start there, and the rest of you can chime in as you see fit. But this is a no-holds-barred fight. The way I'm going to judge this, and I'm going to chime in as I see where the fights are going. I want to have you each defend your person, give me your opening remarks, and then we're going to take down the weakest link and continue to go until we have one Spider-Man standing. So Tobey, why don't you start us up? Matt, with Tobey, let's hear it.
All right, so he was involved with Spider-Man before the MCU was a thing. This was before they were spending all this money. Paramount, Sony had everything on it. And if you're going to go by the numbers, Spider-Man 1 made more money than any of the other Spider-Mans as far as box office gross at $400+ million. So it was the most popular thing at the time. It was something different. The CG was different. And for the movie overall, Macho Man Randy Savage is in it, which gets an extra plus from me. the movie was just great. I thought they brought a lot of the comic book elements into it, some of the cartoon stuff from that old Saturday morning cartoon that I used to love that they did. And for me, this was that first embodiment of seeing those characters. Like, I couldn't think of anybody other playing Wolverine besides Hugh Jackman. I can't think of another Iron Man besides Tony Stark. So when I see Spider-Man now, I see Tobey Maguire first. And then the other ones start trickling in. They've made great movies, but I thought him as the nerdy kind of high school guy came off really well as Peter Parker. And then in the suit, he looked good. He played the part great. Made out with Mary Jane upside down, perfect.
An iconic shot.
An iconic shot, and I don't think you have one of those other iconic shots. I mean, maybe, give that to the director and cinematographer for that. But I thought that it just, at the time, it came off great. The movie had so much emotion coming into it because at the time it came out around 2001 when we all know what happened there. And it was just such an emotional movie. It was done so well, and it left you going, oh, I need one more. And he had a great supporting cast in that one as well. So I think that helped him. Great villains, great acting. I overall thought he was the best. And even into the second one, again, great film, great villains, everything laid out really well. The third one, the dancing scene, you guys can slap me all over the face for that one.
Well,
but, I thought it was still okay.
Yeah, well, I think you got it. The second one's, I think, the best one.
The second one's amazing.
It
It made,
so, I mean, there's a lot there to enough to forget about
the second one was
We're
still.
going to bring it up, but
The second one still made more money than any of the other three as far as a box office gross at $373 million.
All right, so he's going box office numbers. Interesting. I want to hear from you, Natalie. I mean, the Andrew Garfield version has a pretty iconic moment when they snap Gwen Stacy's neck.
I was going to actually say that I felt that. I was actually going to be one of my points is one of the most poignant death scenes is that Gwen Stacy death scene. And Andrew Garfield is probably, out of all the actors here, the most critically acclaimed actor, everybody. He's got an Oscar nom. He's got a Tony. You know what Tobey Maguire has?
Toby's loaded up with a couple things.
Tobey Maguire has
Best Kiss scene.
Teen Choice Award.
And
Tom Holland has a Teen Choice Award. I had to Google their awards. They have Teen Choice Awards.
Tobey Maguire didn't get anything for what was it?
Nope,
Cider House Rules, or he did some other. No,
Yeah,
nothing. Okay, good.
So they have Teen Choice Awards. Andrew Garfield is actually one of the physically one of the best actors.
What was his award for?
For the Oscar nom?
Yeah, was it for?
It was for Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
He got
yeah.
Best Actor nom for Hacksaw Ridge. So, and the best part is Andrew Garfield is someone who grew up with Spider-Man, who was clearly a huge fan long before he took on the role. It's evident. There's a scene in The Amazing Spider-Man where the cars are falling off the bridge. He's going after the lizard, and there's a choice where he can go after the lizard and fight him, or he can save a kid who was in a car that was, his father was screaming at him. And in that moment, you see that he chose to go after the kid. He took off his mask. He put the mask on the kid's head and was like, look, trust me, you're going to be strong with that mask. He embodied Spider-Man so much and showed that he wasn't going to go after the guy that killed his uncle. He was going to go after saving the people who were innocent. And I think Andrew was able to show how much he understood the character, was able to show how much he felt for that. And I think I love Tobey. No offense to you.
No,
I do. But I think Andrew had a more of an emotional grasp. I think the Amazing Spider-Man films in general had better emotions to it.
The second one really...
I'd say so. They killed Gwen Stacy in the second one.
It just kind of fell apart.
I don't know if you noticed. Look, I watched The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in theaters, right? I've never heard people stop breathing. And that was the moment where everyone's like, oh.
It was a shocker.
It was so...
It was also riddled with too many villains.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not saying they're all flawless. I'm saying there's faults in every single one.
Well,
of
the
those
third
films.
one for mine is...
Yeah,
You each have problems. All right, well, that's good opening
Yeah.
arguments. Let's get over here to Katie, because you're defending Tom Holland, really the new kid on the block. Both of you have new kids on the block, but
Yeah.
let's hear about Tom Holland. Why is he the best Spider-Man?
Okay, now not steering towards box office prices or anything, and the actual character. I think Tom Holland is probably one of the best portrayals for Spider-Man, because not only the fact that they actually got a younger person to play Spider-Man and not a 27, 28-year-old, he actually looks the part, and he's more, and being closer to his age, I feel like, he's more relatable to the times now with everything with social media and with how high schoolers act. The other ones, everything just seemed very over dramatic, with their high school lives and everything. But Tom Holland just plays more of a normal, goofy kind of teenager. He is more shy and nerdy. Andrew Garfield, I felt like he was too cocky when he became Spider-Man. I know it's their alter ego, and Spider-Man's supposed to be more, funny, talks to the villains, so then it gets them off track, and then he like kicks their butt, like when he's like distracting them with all his like one-liners. But I felt like Tobey Maguire wasn't really doing that. He didn't have much humor to his character when his alter ego as Spider-Man, and then Andrew Garfield was just like, he overdid it. I felt like he overdid it. It's too cocky. And also with like when it comes to their love interests, I don't think Tom Holland was as clingy as Maguire was with MJ, or like
wasn't a stalkery.
Yeah, he wasn't like stalkery.
He wasn't stalkery.
Like, I felt he was just more
making the
genuine.
effort.
Like, he just had that baby face. He made you think of an actual high schooler. He just acted like a kid, like how kids are supposed to act. He wasn't all like carrying around a camera with him in high school, taking pictures of everything. He wasn't stalking his like on again, off again girlfriend or whatever.
He wasn't skateboarding to Coldplay.
Exactly. Like he was just doing his own thing, and I just think he's
all right.
Yeah.
Good opener. All right, Don. Now the latest Spidey, Miles Morales from Spider-Verse. Go ahead.
The greatness about Miles Morales is the fact that, like I said earlier, he embodies what it is to be Spider-Man. And the great thing about it is the voice, the portrayal of the character through the voice, the tone. It makes you want to relate, and the way the story is written for Miles Morales' character is why he's so great. You watch that, and he is arguably the most relatable of all three. He comes from a very downtrodden home. His family struggles. His father's the breadwinner of the house. His mother's also trying to keep things together. He's also trying to get out there, but he's trying to find his place. He doesn't know where his place is, and he goes seeks advice from his uncle. It is watching the appeal of Spider-Man is watching him grow and struggle as he grows, and that's why everybody enjoys Spider-Man, and that's why Miles Morales is the perfect example of why Spider-Man is good out of the cinematic view.
All right, interesting. So now I've heard all your opening arguments. You've all made valid points. Now it's time to kill each other, and someone can nominate the weakest link. But who do we think? Hearing all these out, is there an unanimous decision? Does anyone feel like who is the weakest link?
I think it's Holland. Holland has such a supporting cast and such a wave of success coming at him before the movie was even thought of. Everybody was clamoring for him to join the MCU. Oh, please be in the MCU. Please be in Civil War. He found out he got the part like 2 days before he started shooting, and not knowing the kid's a parkour expert anyway before he did that. But he had such an extra wave of this support with Robert Downey Jr. in the movie, and teaming up with that and having that Tobey didn't have that. They went into something completely blind, new CG technology, which at points looks a little wonky, like the first time he jumps off the building and all that. It's a little off, but this was also early 2000s technology. Was it before X-Men had even hit?
It was right around the time.
Right around all that,
yeah.
The comic book movies started coming up, so he had to work with a lot of stuff that wasn't perfected yet.
But why do you say Tom Holland is worse than the other two?
I just think Holland is...
Couldn't you argue the fact that he had to go up with Iron Man and all these characters
right, no, he had,
hold his own?
He had the cojones
impressive.
to go up with Robert Downey Jr., one of the greatest actors in the world that I think, and all the, having that massive Marvel empire behind him and knowing that he's going to be such an iconic character. But then you've got Tobey coming into this going, I don't know what I'm getting into with a comic book movie, and he's a theatrical actor, and just coming into this world. I mean, he had some problems after he did that because of such the falling off a cliff and making all this money, and everything hit so quick when those Spider-Mans came out. But I think he kept it together.
Well, I mean,
and
look,
I loved the character he did. Yes, it was nerdy, but it wasn't overly nerdy.
I agree. Tobey's a good choice. They're all good choices. But I'm not hearing. I don't understand unless people are agreeing with him. Do the rest of you think Holland's the worst? Where do you stand, Natalie?
I actually would say Miles Morales. I know.
You dare step up to the plate.
Wow.
You get those comments.
I love Into the Spider-Verse. I watched it 3 times in theaters. I have no problem with Miles Morales. I have no problem with that. I don't think it actually makes sense for him to be in this argument because he's an animated character versus 3 live-action actors. So I'm really confused how he's in this argument. It feels like it's a whole separate game. Like, this doesn't make sense for him to be part of this conversation solely because he's animated. He's going to be able to do the parkour. He's going to be able to do this because he's an animated character.
I wasn't even talking about the parkour.
I'm just telling you.
I'm talking about the personification.
But we were talking about 3 live-action actors versus a cartoon character, and I would love a live-action Miles Morales film. I would kill for one.
So,
but this is,
let's put
I don't
it
know
this way.
if this is the
If
right
you were
conversation
listening
for it.
to just the movies back to back, you weren't even seeing the movies, and you're
Just
listening to
them. You know, like we
just
listen.
listen.
You know, Natalie, like we just listen to movies.
Exactly. Close your eyes.
I mean,
Sound
Listen to
therapy.
Andrew Garfield. Listen to Tom Holland. Then listen to Miles Morales, and you or more if you want to go by his name, and you try to picture how that movie will go. It's going to play out a whole differently for those 2 movies. It's not. You don't feel the same listening to those movies. You don't feel the same, and that's what I'm talking about. When you hear the portrayal of those characters, that's a big thing. You know, half of acting is the dialogue, if not more. Mm-hmm. You know, they have to physically act it out, yes, and they have to do stuff, but those scenes with Spider-Man where he's swinging around, that's all CGI.
Toby sold
I'm
that-
not even.
Toby
I'm
sold
Hold on,
ignoring
I want to
this.
hear Katie. Go
So
ahead. Katie.
listening to Morales sing to himself half the time, it's what you're going for?
Hey, you know, he has his thing. You know, like people like to rap and like they
Everyone
like
has
to sing
own
their
thing.
thing.
All right, that's the dialogue you're looking
You
for.
know,
then,
and
all right.
what does Tom Holland do when he's just stuttering around trying to be the new Robert Downey Jr.?
Oh
He's
yeah,
like,
you know, today, Junior.
Go back to your awkward dancing.
Tony Stark, Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark.
He's a kid. He's okay. Wouldn't you, if you met your idol, like if superheroes were like in this world and you just met like your favorite superhero, wouldn't you be fanboying or fangirling the entire time?
I'm
I
with
wouldn't
you,
know
yes.
what to
It's
say
very
if I
realistic.
met so he's a teenager. He met the guy he looks up to. Same thing when he sees they're in battle and he sees Captain Marvel and all the other characters. He's too busy talking to them because at the same time, I'm supposed to be fighting them, but I'm excited because oh my gosh, I'm in front of the Avengers. Like you can't blame them.
All right, here's what I want to do. Pick your performance. What movie, or just give me the movie you're picking. Let's all play a level playing field because a few of you have a few moments. You got to either pick, Homecoming, or you got to pick Endgame, or you got to pick Civil War. You got to pick which Spider-Man Toby did.
I know.
Are you going Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2? Don, we know what movie you're picking.
Yeah.
But
You got like 9 characters to go with too. So
quickly down the line. No, you don't have to give me huge reasoning. But Matt, which one are you picking?
Spider-Man 2. I like the fact that they showed him out of college having a struggle. Like yes, he's a superhero with all these great powers, but he still can't pay rent, and he's getting yelled at by some Russian down the hall.
Okay, Natalie.
I think I'm gonna go with Amazing Spider-Man.
First one.
First
okay.
one.
Quick reasoning.
I think there's way more weak points in Spider-Man 2 or the Amazing Spider-Man 2, so I'd rather go with something.
Oh, the rhino part was awesome.
Okay, and then Katie over here. How do you want to compare Tom Holland? What are you gonna pick?
Yeah, I'll just say Homecoming because you see more of his character than the other movies. You see them in there too, but not as much.
Okay, and then Adon we know. All right, so going back again, just so I have across the line, Adon, weakest one for you is?
Actually, I would say Spider-Man 2.
You mean Tobey Maguire? You're going the worst is Tobey Maguire. Katie, who are you picking as the worst one to knock out first?
Maguire.
Oh, we got 2 Maguires. Natalie, who are you picking out?
Oh, he's looking at me. Don't look at me.
Maguire?
Let me let you know. Also, my Spider-Man hangs out on a boat with models, Leonardo DiCaprio, and they're all buddies, and it's just a big
that
party.
help?
So, yes, that's how superheroes
I
live.
don't know if that's how Spider-Man lives.
He's using that
He might
Spider-Man
have
money
knocked
though.
himself out. I mean, let's ask this: what defines Spider-Man for each of us, and why does Tobey Maguire set that? I mean, in listening to you, I feel like yes, he's the original. I think he established the character for a lot of people, but in my opinion, now getting into the fight a little bit, we didn't have anyone else to base him on.
Yeah.
He was just he did the performance well, but at the same time, he was not awkward enough. He was Tobey Maguire was the I don't want to say the word posse with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like he was like a cool guy who was out there gambling, doing models. Like that's not Spider-Man. And even though he was trying to play awkward Tobey Maguire, and he pigeonholed himself in this weird awkward phase, because then he was Tobey Maguire, who was a heartthrob, but he was also like, no, I'm still the weirdo. I don't know. With the absence of time, I think he did a good job. Absence of time, over time, I don't know if it holds up. So I do hear that. Natalie, thoughts?
I think For this round, I'm going to go with Tobey.
Bye.
The peer pressure got to me. But also, I agree with what he said. A lot of it is that he's the original, so we have nothing else to base it on. But do I think his performance is strong enough compared to others?
Katie and Don, are we all in agreement? We're kicking
I
out
agree.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
Sorry.
He's like, thank God he didn't say
mean,
Miles.
like,
Not again.
Yeah.
I grew up
okay with
with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Like, I grew up, with that Spider-Man and, playing the games and stuff. But, sometimes it's time to take out the old and bring in the new. So.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes that is. All
It's
right.
because I'm the old
There
man
we
at the
go.
table.
We eliminated Tobey first. Ooh, that means you're on the jury now, Matt. So now,
All right.
who would you take out next?
I mean,
Honestly, now you have no horse in the race. Be
I got
honest.
no horse in the race. I'm honestly taking out your Spider-Man. I don't.
I feel like this is not about Spider-Man.
No.
I feel like
feel
this
like
is.
he didn't make me want to go. He didn't make me want to see that character more.
Okay.
He didn't make me want to go, oh, I want to see him in these extra movies. Like, if I got to go with, another one, Holland, I'm like, I want to see him in more stuff. I like seeing him in Civil War, in this movie, and that movie. Yours was like, I feel like Robert Downey Jr. would want to punch him.
And you gave me a thing. You agreed a little bit, but like Andrew Garfield is a heartthrob. Like
Yes.
he is about as heartthrob as it gets.
He's got
He was
fluffy
a
hair.
heartthrob in that
He's
movie
like-
too.
He's like
He's a
performance of-
babe. I don't know what
Exactly.
you...
He's
He's a
debatable.
babe.
Yeah.
He's
But is
okay.
that Peter Parker for you? You
Well,
think Peter Parker should be a babe?
I can actually, I was thinking about this. I think that he represents Peter Parker in 2012. Like, think about it. When Spider-Man was originally created, nerds were not
Cool.
well regarded. They were,
Mm-hmm.
we're thinking high school, we're thinking like the athletes were the top of the school. By 2012, nerds were cool. Like, we even look now in 2019, nerds are cool.
And
Yeah,
everyone's
nerds,
writing these
there's-
movies
nerds are cool, but they
No,
didn't
but
say
I-
he's
I know,
gorgeous.
let me say. So here's the thing.
with nicely coiffed hair.
Guys,
Spiky. Yeah. Go ahead.
like, he represents what teenagers are in 2012, which was they were sarcastic, they were funny, they ride their skateboards, they have their they
They
do all
listen
those
to
things.
Coldplay.
But they don't look like that. 2012, I was listening to Coldplay.
I did too.
was
I got a
18,
call.
so
Coldplay was the shit then. Yeah. go
yeah.
ahead.
So like, I think he represents at that time in the Peter Parker sense that he was what a teenager was at that time, and he represented that, I think, very well. I don't like. That's how I feel about that. So when someone's like, "Well, he was a heartthrob," yeah, there are some nerds who are heartthrobs.
The other-
It's like,
the-
it's fine.
I want to hear from you guys, but the other thing is, that movie to me, the strength is the relationship between him and Emma Stone.
Yep.
Because they were dating, like you could tell the chemistry was palpable. Like that made that movie passable for me because the two of them
They
were
clearly
so
yeah,
connected.
Yeah.
The chemistry's there. So from a chemistry perspective, I'm with you, but that was really all it had going for me. So I'm on the fence. But let's hear what do you guys think here?
Yeah, like you said, the characters, like that's how teenagers were at the time. I wish that's how they looked at the time, but anyways.
I mean, very rare. Yeah,
6 foot
very
runway
rare.
Yeah.
models.
Watching
Them eyes.
the movie, I just thought, I kind of preferred Tobey over the Andrew Garfield. And the chemistry, the chemistry was good, but everything else, I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't like the way he portrayed.
I want to counter something,
Okay.
but I don't want to interrupt you.
Okay, go.
Oh.
So, Andrew
I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you finish.
But I will
Okay.
So-
destroy you.
Andrew Garfield walked so Tom Holland could run. Let me explain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me
Thank you.
explain. So, by the time that the Spider-Mans were coming out, by the Amazing Spider-Mans, right?
Okay.
We were going through that phase of like super serious comic book movies. We had The Dark Knight Returns. We had all these movies that were like, we must be dark. We must be dark. Bleak, bleak. So we then had to have these Spider-Man movies that were dark, bleak, bleak, bleak. Which is why those tones of those movies were very dark and very bleak compared to
And
the
world
Amazing-
building was another in thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine that they go from that and they went, oh no, we can't do that again. So now they go with Tom Holland and they make him funnier. I'd have to admit that Homecoming and his Spider-Mans are the most fun Spider-Mans. They're funny. You can go along with them. But without Andrew Garfield having to be that dark, bleak, bleak, bleak Spider-Man, we wouldn't have a Tom Holland fun Spider-Man. They would continue with that dark, bleak, bleak, bleak. So that's why I think, like, without Andrew, there would be no Tom. There would be no portrayal like that. They wouldn't have gone that route.
I honestly
Well,
would
I want
say.
to let you guys reply, but I was going to say there are really dark moments in both films. Like Homecoming has one of my favorite MCU moments, which is that Vulture car ride with Michael Keaton.
Everybody loves it.
It's
Yeah.
just such a good scene, and
Well, that's
it
Michael Keaton,
does.
Yeah, that's my-
because I'm with you. It
Yeah.
is a jokey. But that's where things do become more real, and I do think the film turns to a point where you're like, oh damn, this is a good movie, not just a fun movie. And then obviously in Spider-Verse, there's a lot of dark moments with Uncle and stuff. So you're right. But to be fair, they have those points. But let's hear you guys defend it too.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like, I watched Amazing Spider-Man, and I enjoyed it as a movie. But here's the thing: I didn't feel like it was as dark as you're saying that Andrew Garfield had to be dark, and then that hurt him in that area. No, I would say it wasn't as dark as that. Where it was is Andrew Garfield wasn't embodying it as a whole. Like, my dream Spider-Man would have been taking Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker, crossing him over with Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, and then mixing those bodies together and mixing that thing. But they're not the same. And like, your Andrew Garfield, yes, that's your dream, 2012, Peter Parker. But that's not how he is.
Peter Parker. I just said he's a great teenager.
He was not her dream. Let's not
he was a lot of girls' dream Peter Parker. But that's not how he's supposed to be. Peter Parker is that kid that he was very confident, and granted he had Emma Stone to make him that confident.
Yeah.
That's a powerful lady. But the fact of the matter is, even then, like, he's supposed to be like, guy, he's unsure of himself. He's not really knowing what to do. Both in their relationship, he has struggles, but you don't really see that. He's put together, and that's where Spider-Man needs to be. You have to have that struggle.
With that, because he just seemed too confident. His character seemed the most confident out of all the Spider-Mans. And that's why I did not like, because he's like you were saying earlier, like, it's a learning process. They'll be understanding who they are and whatever, and just him being so confident, and just on top of having him a girl like Emma Stone, that's just.
Well, we're going with
those aren't nerds.
They are nerds.
Are we basing it off the women, or are we basing it off just Spider-Man themselves?
We're basing it off their interaction.
That couple was not the nerd couple in any school ever.
Yeah, no.
Maybe when they were little, but they are such hard.
That could have been your valedictorian.
And they're popular. She's popular in the movie, so I agree. There is this weird and Garfield's performance. Well, I hear he is a fantastic actor.
He is.
But there's just a little bit of this, like, he's always he does a little bit of the stutter too that Holland has, of just like, and he's just very stalkery to her, and like won't let her go, and not in like a cute way.
Well,
like Tom Holland.
Holland's
that's the second one. We're not talking about the second one.
That was very stalkery.
We're talking about the first one.
Sure, she eliminated that. But yeah, so are you both saying Garfield's the least one?
But I'd say for Holland, his love interest is what's her name?
Zendaya.
No, that's not
MJ and
Liz. There we go. His love interest is that super popular girl, and somehow he is able to get her to go to the dance with him. Yes, he's nerdy, but he's still an attractive dude who is able to get a date with the most popular girl in school. So like,
wait, which one? We're talking about Spider-Verse?
Yeah, no, for him, for her,
yeah,
for Holland.
No, she's talking about Homecoming.
Liz was like his first crush before the other two. So.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm forgetting that. But because Zendaya is the new love interest in the new movies.
Yes, I'd say so.
Who's now MJ or whatever they're called.
I don't know where they're going.
So like, if we're going with the argument of like, well, he was dating Gwen, and Gwen is MJ. Like, he also went on a date with Liz, who was also
fair, Thomas is hot too. I mean, all these Spider-Men are hot.
Freaking adorable.
I'll give Holland the credit though that he is able to do the stunts without having a stunt guy. Like, you see him do these tricks and stuff outside of there. Like, he just did the thing at Disneyland where he's hanging out with the kids, and like he takes the costume off, and like I feel like overall he's the more authentic, just because he can do the stuff. Like, he can do the work. He does the wire work.
Garfield did it too.
Yeah, Garfield did it too.
But not like out the street.
There were moments he showed up.
Many a video where
but the parkour stuff, and like being able to jump around.
Yes.
I can confirm that.
Yeah, there are videos where he does the parkour stuff, and then the mask.
But that's not the argument,
well.
like whether it can do parkour.
But I believe it more.
All right, well, I mean, we could do this all day, not to be harsh, but I do lean, and I play back that performance of Garfield. It just doesn't play as Peter Parker to me. And Katie said it really well. It's just he's too confident. He is very confident. So it sounds like, Matt, you were going. We all did there. So sadly, I gotta put Garfield out next. So now you're on the jury with us. We're all in the jury. Who do we want to eliminate next? Natalie, who do you say is the next one to go?
Now I'm gonna go with Holland.
I
vengeance.
Well, because you originally
Do it.
said the whole performance of animation, and it's a valid argument, but I do think Don did pretty brilliantly. Like, I mean, a lot of people have to watch movies without visuals; they have to listen to it.
Yeah.
And the reality is, it's an amazing performance. And granted, he has the help of animation teams and the directors and all the people behind it, but you could have made that live action. And Andrew Garfield, all of these Spider-Men have animated moments in their movies where they're flying around. So I do think it's fair to continue. So from a performance standpoint, which one does? You're picking. So now we're picking our favorite. You're saying Miles Morales Spider-Verse would be your favorite
Well,
Spider-Man?
I love the Spider-Verse. Like, I still love Into Spider-Verse. I have no issue. I just felt that in the terms of this discussion, that if we're comparing animation to live action, I didn't think it was completely there.
But now that you're out,
But now that I'm out,
Yeah.
Come on,
There you
let's
go,
play fair.
Robert,
Let's
now.
play fair.
Yeah. It's like the
but
best
you would pick
portrayal.
Miles.
I'd pick Miles. I just, for the sake of the conversation solely, I just don't think it's a fair comparison there.
Matt, where do you go?
So
Again, no horse in the race. Let's be honest here.
So as far as the performance goes, and the Moore that played Blade Morales, he looks like him. Like they could do a live action, but they had the pressure. They didn't have the pressure in that movie of living up to what the MCU has been doing, and having to add all these extra elements. And I thought the performance was good. The fact he's wearing Air Jordans, I love that. So, but that I just kind of, I don't know. I'm going more towards Holland just because
because he had
think
more pressure?
I think he had more pressure to perform and really push himself into this character without knowing what he was getting into.
Against characters that we love
Yeah.
and managing to go toe-to-toe with them, too.
I mean, but you know, Miles had this great cast with him. I mean, heck, Nicolas Cage is in the movie. You can't beat that. But I think that he had a good ensemble. The story for Spider-Verse I thought was really, really well done. I mean, it won an Academy Award. But I like seeing the actual character, and if they put more in a real movie, or we were talking about it earlier, he walks through a door in the next MCU movie with Spider-Man. Oh, great, here we go. Then let's rock and roll that way. But I gotta kick Spider-Verse out.
Okay.
Well, I know where you two stand. You're each going to take each other out. So
true.
give us one last argument each, and then three of us will argue
Ladies
amongst
first.
ourselves.
Okay.
Why is yours better? Let's hear it, Katie.
Well, like everyone was saying, it's better to see. I mean, I enjoyed the Spider-Verse movie. It was really good, really well put. But at the same time, like, everyone was kind of talking about how they kind of pushed Spider-Man in with all the other characters. But I mean, sometimes you gotta do that. The other Spider-Man movies were like, you know, he's by himself, and you know, he's trying to figure out by himself. But it's kind of good to know that, you know, Spider-Man has his help now, and that he has all these people behind him that can relate to him, because they're all superheroes too. And it's not like he's like going there automatically fits in. He's still learning and everything. But I just feel like the portrayal, like, yeah, they kind of had Miles Morales as you know, he had the same vibe that Tom Holland had in a way. They're both kids. They're both kind of acting like, you know, just whether it be they're stuttering or they're singing to themselves, they have that. But I just feel like Tom Holland, the way he portrayed it, he just had that genuine, like, it's more believable. Like, it has that more genuine nerdiness and that kind of kid at heart where he's still, like, doesn't know what's going on. He's trying to figure out everything. You should start talking so that I can
I want to trim in to help you, because the more I think about it too, like, we didn't even have to see his origin. That's
I
pretty,
like that.
That's pretty amazing. The fact that he did all that, pulled it off against so many people, and we didn't need to see the spider bite and everything else, which I think they did do beautifully in Spider-Verse actually, which I didn't think I wanted to see again, but they did it and they did it well. But the fact that Tom Holland was able to just jump in immediately as Spider-Man without us telling it, and then still get all that lack of confidence, all the things you're saying, like, it is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, I enjoyed that because, you know, you get tired of seeing the same thing just rewritten again and again. So I liked having to see him, like, okay, he's already here, and, you know, you see him in his, you know, I also liked his character development. Like, he went from sweats to tech. Like, you see him, all these other Spider-Mans, they, like, you know, they become master, like, you know, sewers and stuff, and they have this really, like,
That's a good
looking
that's true.
costume.
Yeah.
And then you have Tom Holland come in. he just got a pair of sweatpants, red and blue sweatpants, and a sweatshirt, and then he's all set. Some goggles he made from the trash. Like, that's more realistic than some,
And then brilliant, just let Tony Stark. Yeah, here's your crazy outfit. Every other movie didn't have
There's
the luxury.
900 other
Yeah.
options in the video game.
The last 3 outfits he hasn't done anything.
I mean, and to be fair, in Spider-Verse, he did make a suit that was cool too, and he had help from others. So both of those, just for the. But go ahead, Don. Last, because I'm leaning towards Holland, but see if you can sway us.
So the you're talking about he had pressure because of the MCU, and he had to do that work on there. I argue it's the other way around. He had the support from the MCU, which has been going on for 10 plus years, and he's had all those people backing him on that. Where Into the Spider-Verse is the opposite. It was Sony, and Sony had not good reputation with Spider-Man. And then you kind of come out with this movie that is, even though it's an animation, is a major project in its own.
Another Spider-Man against a popular Spider-Man.
Exactly. And against MCU.
It's true.
And not only against MCU, but made people say that was the best Spider-Man in countless years.
And then you got to imagine the amount of pressure that's on the people that's on it. The guy that's going to be portraying that actor's voice, and he wants to embody Miles Morales. That's going on there. As far as the character development of Miles Morales versus Tom Holland, it's great that yes, we don't have to see Uncle Ben die. I love that. But in this, it actually parodies that and makes it lighthearted because you see the narration of every Spider-Man becoming Spider-Man. And makes it a running gag, but at the same time, as you're watching Miles Morales develop and becoming, you connect to him more. So when he sees the first Spider-Man go, and he sees the finality and the pressure that comes with what it is of the mantle that he's going to have to take over, he's denying it. He doesn't want it. That's a realistic response. No one wants that pressure. He's living that, and then. When it's going through the movie, it's about halfway that he realizes, I need to do this. Actually, it's more than halfway. It's like almost near the end.
Yeah, 5 minutes out.
Exactly. But that's what it is. This movie is the creation of Spider-Man. And the great thing that, Stan Lee said, the beautiful thing about Spider-Man is that he's wearing a mask. You don't know if Spider-Man is black, white, lady, guy, other than Spider-Man's in the name. But it could be anybody. And Miles Morales is your anybody. He's a kid that's coming from the streets. He's working his way up. He's struggling. He doesn't want to deal with the responsibilities, but he's going to take and step up and do it because he knows it's the right thing. And you feel that in the story.
All right, guys, where do you stand? Good argument there because I do think you make a strong point of while Tom Holland had the coming up again. The pressure of performing with the MCU, you make a valid point of that's actually support too, and for Spider-Verse to actually work against odds of being Sony, coming out with others, between Tom Holland's Spider-Mans, which are very successful, and then managing to win the Oscar, and you got to remember the story too of this Lord Miller being fired off Solo by their childhood hero, and then suddenly we're gonna finish the Spider-Man, and then they managed to just kill it out of the park. Against all odds, that is a fair, valid point. I have some thoughts, but I want to get to you guys first. What do you think? Wrapping up, where do you go?
I'm still sticking with Holland. I think that there's more work that Sony can do if they do continue to do this Spider-Verse. Have they talked about putting out another one or expanding the universe? I don't think I've heard it. So I mean, if they can continue with that, I mean, they had a killer soundtrack on it, which helped out. They had great voice actors, John Mulaney, Nick Cage, like I said earlier, behind him.
It was like an all-star cast.
It was cool, but I want to see how Holland can continue to roll into Phase 4 with major characters that have left the MCU now. Can he support, as we might be able to see at Homecoming here, can he support this on his own and keep this rolling?
Well, yeah, and you got to remember there was talk of getting Tobey Maguire to be the role of Peter Parker, which Jake Johnson played, which would have been pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that would have been a good.
But the idea there that they're willing to do that. I mean, there's now rumors that could Andrew Garfield come back in the Venom verse, and that sort of justifies the Spider-Man there. I mean, the Spider-Verse opened up so many interesting possibilities that, Shameik Moore could just show up in the MCU as Miles Morales and suddenly be live action.
And
there's just amazing things you could do now that they did it against complete odds.
Well, if Disney buys Sony, then we know where that's going.
Yeah, well,
That's the only one left.
They're clearly working together enough. But anyway,
Yeah.
so Natalie, what do you think?
I'm still gonna go with Holland.
Wait, as the best?
No,
We're voting for best.
we're voting for best.
Well, what's left?
Yeah. Okay, so
Before you were Miles.
An argument that you made was how the character development, like, hey, we got to see his origin story. We had to see. Well, we kind of had to. We know the origin story of Spider-Man, of Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Exactly.
I want to challenge someone who doesn't know the origin story of Peter Parker and how that happened.
Him and Batman, I think we
Yeah,
all
like-
know.
We're good.
Yeah.
Superman,
There are
we're
just
good.
Flash, everybody.
There are people who are like
Yeah.
blind and deaf who know the origin story
Right,
of
yes.
Spider-Man. So,
Of course.
with Miles Morales, I'll be honest, I didn't know his origin story. So if, as someone who's more of a casual viewer, they might not know his story. So it makes sense for us to see his origin and then see that character development. But I think for this,
Because you did go Miles. Now
I
you're
did
going
go
back.
Miles. I'm waving back and forth because I think you guys just made really good arguments.
To jump on your point,
I'm easily influenced.
if you played the last Spider-Man game, Miles is in it, and he's got a pretty good part in it. So
I don't know
if
what
they
that
want to
is.
connect the video game to the movies, but he's got a pretty
Well,
solid
but let's
spot.
focus
We're gonna
on
stick with the
Spider-Verse.
movies. I actually didn't play the game.
Yeah,
Spider-Verse
I don't-
versus Homecoming. Who gives
He's
the
like, I know the
points?
game.
That's the way
So
I'll go
Matt,
with the
you've
comics.
chosen Holland.
I'm going Holland.
Where are you going, Natalie?
I'll go with Miles Morales.
Ooh,
I think.
okay, so now we're
Wow,
tied.
swerve job.
The upset.
We just killed Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is gone. That's
got
fine.
you.
Don't worry about it. You got it? It's fine.
got it.
She's
fine.
got
He'll
it.
live.
There we go. Oh, you're okay. We got
okay.
excited. All right, you guys, we'll see who gets
Excited.
to hold him.
Excited.
So now it comes down to me because you guys aren't gonna. Oh, you knocked my camera down too.
Good job, y'all.
It's live TV, folks.
I don't think it's live.
No, it's recorded.
Luckily,
Yes.
we weren't live.
Yeah.
Shh, we were live. All right. Camera fixed. Camera fixed. Aha! See how I did that? All right. Let's see who gets to hold that Spider-Man.
Stop pushing it.
Man, this is so it comes down to me, and this is tough because I think you both make very strong arguments, and you swayed me too. Because first I was like, well, crap, there's no origin story. He had to go against the MCU and fit in, but Spider-Verse, how did they? The fact that worked is just still blows my mind. But now I'm bringing some of my own feelings in too. Miles Morales has, I don't know, it just feels like there's just a lot more to him. There's so many Spider-Man in that movie. As you said it even, Adon, like anyone can be Spider-Man. So my only worry is that sort of took away from his personal story because it became such a big story that I think, with Tom Holland's world, like he really is playing, to me, the best comic version of Spider-Man there is because it's just, he's doing what we know. He's doing it well. He's fitting in with all these characters we love. He's able to just fit into that world seamlessly. Him and Aunt May, him and even just the relationships, him and the Vulture. Like it all works, and it shouldn't because we've seen this movie 100 million times. That said, Spider-Verse, fantastic, and I would argue the better film. But if I gotta go performance, I just think I'm weighted just because I've seen a little bit more now of Tom Holland. I think between Civil War and Homecoming together, it just taps me over the edge. I think within time, Miles Morales might impress us even more. But based on the arguments, I gotta give it to Tom Holland. Katie wins.
Yes!
Bravo. But it doesn't matter what I think. What did you think at home? That was an epic debate. I feel like we got somewhere. Does anyone feel like now we all sort of in agreement somewhat?
Yeah, I just think we each had a Spider-Man for our time also.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I think each of them, like I watched Tobey Maguire and he looks like how I dressed in high school because that's when I saw the movie
Sure.
and that's where I might relate with him more than
What's
you
what
know,
we grew up with?
Yeah, a 20-year-old now or 18, 19, however old, Holland is running around. Like I relate with that. So
But I think if you take that all out and just not and take our nostalgia away, and you sum up Peter Parker as a not confident, bumbling, sort of just fun, smart ass kid. Tom Holland's doing that.
He's doing
really
it very well. And I think he's holding
Uh,
himself up very well with all that pressure. Even when you see him, like what I really like about him is when I see him on like the Tonight Show and doing interviews and everything. I feel like he's genuinely happy to be playing this and grateful and sucking in every moment that he can out of this. He's not taking any of it for granted because I know he called Tobey.
Grew up with it too.
He grew up with it, and he'd called Tobey and he'd called Garfield and like asked them
got
all for
all those
advice.
lessons,
He got
yeah.
all his lessons. And they said, "Dude, keep your head on a swivel. Listen to this guy. Don't listen to this stuff." And I know Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I
is
was gonna
taking
say,
him
he's
under.
got all the Avengers
So,
also tipping him off.
I think that he has just held himself up so well with that pressure on his head, and I can't wait to see what they do more with that character heading in because he's the youngest one on the crew. So they're going to suck as many movies out of him as they can. So I think I'm excited to see where they go with the character.
Me too. All right. Well, Matt Doolittle, check him out on social media. I'm going to put all the links down below. Matt, thank you for coming back. You were close. Natalie, fantastic job. Sorry, you got third place.
I'll live with that.
Better than last. For Andrew Garfield too.
I know.
You did better than I think some people thought. Don't forget, we got Adon. You came in very close. Bravo.
It was
Good
an
fight as
uphill
always.
battle. I'll choose any day.
Nerd Tots, I'll put the link down below. And Katie Weiss, fantastic. You did it with Tom Holland. You took him to the end. And we will make sure to link to your Instagram. Katie Bear, right?
Yeah, Katie Bear cosplay.
Katie Bear Cosplay. You do awesome cosplay work. High five for all your amazing cosplay. Check her out on Instagram. Check out all these people out. Thank you so much for coming and watching and fighting that. That was fun. Let's do it again soon. Who do you think is the best Spider-Man? Tell us down in the comments below and get into a fight in there with all the people in there nicely. And again, nicest comment about Spider-Man performances and your thoughts on them will win the Spider-Man Far From Home prize pack. That's right. There's a tote bag and a poster and some stickers, and I'm going to be giving one of those away to one of your nice comments. So leave them down below.